I was pissed at myself last time.
Boom! You were pissing yourself last time.
I was pissed at myself. I was pissed at myself last time because I.
How much of an Oyajis show is this?
I got on.
We're live.
Yes, I know. Hello, everyone. Who's this guy in the middle? This young guy.
Young
whippersnapper.
God, it's great to see you, man. Unrested.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Oh, what's this?
Yeah.
I
don't know if I would call myself the young guy. I turn 45 next month.
45. Oh, Hiko, how are you? How old are you?
I am. I mean, it's all I need to check for a moment. Yeah, 48.
Oh, okay.
So you are the young one. You are the young whippersnapper of the group.
Yes. Yes.
As you've always been. I mean, even back in the day, you came on, and Victor and I were like, "Who's this? Who's this young guy coming on saying stuff?"
You look the same. It must be all those baby blood you're drinking.
Yeah, it's the adrenochrome diet. I recommend it to all my friends back at the Grove.
What is that called again? Adreno what?
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah.
I got to get some.
Yeah. I think GNC's got. You can just stop by there and get some. Should be fine.
They stock that now, right? You don't even need it. It's over the counter now.
Yeah,
right?
It's over the counter now. Yeah.
Well, at least if you're from Florida, so that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you're back in Japan right now, right? Like, are you here on a trip, or what's the deal with that?
Well,
are you moving back?
I still have my house here, so like I live half in Japan and half in America now.
1 foot in each country.
Yeah.
The life of luxury. Well, so that means lots of taxes, but still,
well,
you have to pay anyway.
I don't have to pay a ton of taxes here now since I don't make a massive income here.
Mm.
And in America, your taxes aren't too bad if you have a kid.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a kid, you can. Well,
and it's even
you can claim quite a bit.
And it's even cheaper if you have kids that you don't want, like or fetuses, any fetuses.
And I'm a teacher too, so like a teacher, you get a tax break too.
Oh really? That's good.
Yeah. You can claim a lot.
That Ron DeSantis really knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you'd ever question if he did know what he was doing.
Yeah. So maybe we should come back a moment. I think a lot of people here know who Scott is, but a lot of people might not. I mean, Scott used to be. So whenever I go to a Hanami or something like that, I have multiple people come up to me saying, I want to really bring back the community. I want to bring back the good old days when there were a J-vlogger community, and I feel like that's gone. And, the community itself, when you say that, people sort of know what it means. And it went through various sort of phases and so on. But certainly, Scott was sort of a big part of that. Like, when that was all really going, it's definitely sort of disappeared. But one thing that I noticed so I think I've been subscribed to you this whole time, but you just haven't been posting. So I'd sort of I hadn't seen anything for a long time. And then all of a sudden I see videos of you talking about names of people I hadn't thought about in like 10 years, and kind of got traumatized all over again. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
But they were good stories. And I was like, all of that stuff did happen. And I was so happy that you were making them. It's really nice to have someone sort of talking about.
Yeah. But I'm yelling at the screen going, no, that's not how it happened. Wait a minute.
You gotta try and make a patchwork of like what's left on the internet. Like that's the problem.
Yeah,
some of it you do question, was that reality? And then some of it, it's like I can go back and watch some videos, but some of the stuff that people deleted everything off their channel, so you're left with no trace of.
I'm impressed you'd even go looking for it, but I'm glad you did all the hard work so that I could just watch you do the summary like that. That was good. So it's way more work than I would ever do going back, but it was kind of like, I was remembering parts of those dramas where I was always trying not to get into the dramas, but people would kind of come to me on the side, and I was hearing stuff about it, even if I didn't want to. But yeah, you were talking about it at the time, and it's kind of funny hearing you looking back on it now, but maybe before all of that, I mean, maybe do a quick intro for people who don't know you. How would you introduce yourself to the 2.5 Oyajis crowd for the young kids who are watching 2.5 Oyajis? And
for people who've never heard about
young kids,
I started in 2006 with my first video.
Really? That's back in the day.
Yeah. I've been around.
That was the year YouTube started.
Yeah.
You were like at the zoo?
Yeah, it was me at the zoo. I don't know if you guys have seen that video.
Running around in the background. Yeah.
And I did it was like the worst video ever, just called How I Got a Visa to Japan. And it got like 50 views. And I was like, dang, 50 views.
You're happy,
You were
right?
here in 2006.
No, I started my channel in 2006. My actual first video was like literally a sped up camera of my place in Sarasota.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And then my actual, I deleted that video. I got here 2007. I put up my first video called How I Got My Visa to Come to Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's before me. So yeah, okay.
But I did delete the original very first video because I didn't really even know what YouTube was.
I think anybody did. I don't think YouTube knew what YouTube was at that time. Yeah.
I recorded
the first video. Yeah. My area of Japan, JF. You must have erased a bunch of stuff. It says your oldest video is only 16 years ago. My area of Japan, JFAQ 57. What happened to the first 56?
Nah, that definitely goes back farther. They're out of order and stuff.
It says the oldest. Oh, hold on.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it says. 50, yeah, 16, 15, 15. Yeah, they're in order. If you hit the wow, you look so young.
Yeah. We all did.
Years old age, yeah. How do we share the screen? Yeah, let me share the screen here.
Victor, I'm not comfortable with how you said finger the video.
Where is it?
Dude, your audio has just exploded.
Yeah, it's like some kind of dog whistle.
Me? Are you talking to me?
Yeah. You all of a sudden your audio is like 3 times decibels.
Yeah.
Can you change your setting?
Siren.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. Can you see that? Is it still on?
I can't see anything, dude. I see your face.
Oh, I can see you. I can see you. It's just your audio's like.
Yeah, we can still see you. You're fine on.
Can I add that to the? Not that. No, not that. Where is it? Here we go. Look at Scott. Look at Scott.
Victor. It's really loud. Okay, I'm going to turn down my.
Okay, let me see if I can turn down my. I don't know how to turn my mic.
So tiny, I can do that.
Look at that.
This is not even my first. It definitely went back because this is my like second apartment. So I know I filmed one more before this.
But it says 15 years, so it is quite. I just picked this one because you look good in this one.
You know what gets me? I mean, he doesn't look. I mean, if you were to get my video from that time and your video from that time and Scott's video from that time, Scott's probably holding up like the best out of all 3 of us.
It's
like
my
quite
hairline.
a long way.
That's all it is. It's just my hairline, and I can't grow a beard.
Yeah.
I see. Well, anyway, so did you introduce yourself? I don't think you have yet.
Yeah. So I started way back with JFAQ, which was Japan's frequently asked questions.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was literally just people sending me in questions that were like all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, can I become a doctor in Japan? That was always my favorite one. Can I become a doctor in Japan? Yes, the answer is yes. Of course, you can become a doctor in Japan. Very easy. The doctor visa. Then Victor actually gave me my first shout out when I got to I think I was like 100 subscribers or something, and that put me up to like 1,000 subscribers, and I was like, I think I'm pretty much famous worldwide after that.
Yeah, I remember those feelings in the past. When you think 1,000 people is like the whole world, right?
Yeah, you're like 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty much international at this point.
Well, you are international, but yeah.
When were these JFAQ? For me, I remember these JFAQ videos coming up around the time I was starting to do videos with Victor, and I remember, and we were talking about that on a similar topic, so that's why it got on our radar, and we were like, let's get you on, and we were talking about them. But were you doing those before? Like, what dates are these from? Because I'm thinking like 2009, 2010, but these are predating 15 years ago.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
2009. Yeah.
Yeah, super.
But these blew up. They got really, and I remember like you came in and you were getting more views than me. And Victor's had a huge channel from before. I was like, yeah, it was kind of like, but I was really impressed. You're putting out like a lot of videos like this and getting a lot of, and people are so desperate for attention, for information about Japan, and it was so hard to get around then. So it was kind of a good way to get tons of views. But you were really good at it.
Back then, there wasn't like high quality production. There was just like a guy talking into a camera that happened to live in Japan. That was your source of information. That was pretty
right.
Yeah.
So
Sure that.
pretty much how I got started. I stuck with JFAC for a long time. The only problem is a lot of the JFAC that like the facts actually change and stuff. Like a lot of the visa questions I back then, like none of them. Yeah, look, this is like super old.
Sorry, even Victor, I'm sorry. Even your breathing is like overwhelming the sound.
How do I turn down the sound?
Your mic is so peaking out of control at the moment. Can you?
Okay, so how do I turn that down?
Just I don't know. You did something before that made it go. It's all peaking.
Yeah,
it's,
I think once you start
screaming into a mic,
screen, that's what like launched the volume into like.
Even in settings, you can go into your audio settings of StreamYard and you can turn down the mic volume. Turn down the mic volume.
I went to settings and it says audio, but there's no.
Click on stereo audio.
How about that? Is that better? No, it's not better. Hello. No,
unclick automatically adjust mic volume, and then you can manually.
You're right. Thank you. There you go. How about that? Is that better now?
That is better.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know about that.
Oh, that's perfect. That's good. Sorry, no, something was going crazy just now. Okay. Yeah, lots of people are commenting about it too. And
I see that.
It's hard to hear, Scott.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
Continue. These are features of this is a for 15 years. This has been a consistent feature of the show that we always have a major technical crisis. It's actually it's not a bug. Continue.
Yeah. But that's pretty much how it all started. Was just doing JFAC, answering people's questions about Japan, and they were just like simple things like what's in vending machines, or does Japan really sell crazy stuff that you see on the internet? Is Japanese TV really that exciting? No, it's just SMAP cooking an omelet every single time.
Back in the day, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all Japanese TV is. It's just SMAPs cooking an omelet.
Yeah. So one thing I remember though, so we did variations of the same thing. I remember looking at my stats, and my stats were definitely like 90. Probably about 95, actually. 95% or higher percent dudes. And what I'd noticed looking at your channel and how you were getting tons of views was you seem to have a much better demographic balance as well. You seem to actually appeal to quite a broad audience.
Yeah. I've always been kind of interested in that. I get all ages pretty much. I would say though now, really, I get people who are my same age. Or I do really get the people who are like, I started watching you at 13 and now I'm like 30 years old.
That's a bit depressing, but yeah.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, I've had that. I used to watch you when I was in school. I get some comments. That's really nice, actually. I do appreciate that. Actually,
I appreciate that too. Yeah. I still get those all the time. My Hiko, can I ask you what's your favorite kind of video that Scott put out?
I don't personally. I was always into how. I think the smartest from your perspective. I wasn't so into the. You got it a little bit into the drama, which I kind of enjoyed, but I didn't want to. I was also very careful not to get into that. Like you did that, and Scott did that. You both did that well. Yeah. I wouldn't say I enjoyed that. I kind of liked it more when you got into the explaining Japan stuff, which I like to do as well. And I must admit, I probably watched it at times being a little bit overly critical because that's what I did. But that was partly what was enjoyable about it as well, right? Like we're all kind of figuring it out and trying to correct each other and trying to put out information about this and that. And that actually, and the fact is you were so prolific that you came up with so many good topics. Oh man, I didn't even think of that. Like, yeah, you're the only guy who's doing a video on this. Oh, I wish I'd thought of that. And you were really good at that. And I enjoyed following you. And of course, we did a collab where you did the art. The only time I ever did it was I did like an audiobook type thing of a story, and you animated the story about my Japanese toilet disaster. That's somewhere on my channel.
That's right. I remember that. Wow.
That was the sort of thing we used to do as a community. Yeah. We'd watch each other, we'd support each other, we would collab, and I would say, hey, this is Unrested, go follow his channel, it's awesome. He did the art on this. He's an artist and he does cool Japan videos. Right. And all this sort of stuff. So I love that stuff.
This video right here, I had like multiple different J-vloggers do voice acting on it and stuff. I remember Daichen did the Japanese voices because his accent.
That's right. He can do the Yakuza guy very well.
Yeah, he could talk like a Yakuza, so I'd let him do all those. Yeah. That was crazy. I can't believe, man. This is so old. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I'm making the newest videos that I'm making now. Is like kind of a blast from the past. People, the new J facts that I get, the new Japan's frequently asked questions is, what happened to this guy? How come this guy never makes any videos anymore? Did this guy leave Japan? And I'm kind of like, that's a good question. What did happen to them? I kind of want to know too. So I turned into researching that, and then people got like super interested in that. And we're like, oh my God, I had just been trying to find that channel just the other day, and now you're making a whole video about it. So yeah.
Wingstar has a comment. I'm just throwing the comments up on screen. She did what I loved about your catch-up thing and reminding me of things I haven't thought about in a long time. Wingstar commenting, do you remember that Dream Crusher dude? And you talked about that. I remember that at the time. Yeah. He made the video about like how these convenience store sandwiches were symbolic of like how Japan's finished, and he was doing it tongue in cheek. You can sort of tell,
he was.
But which I loved. So I loved it. I loved it that I could see what he was doing, and but it still triggered so many people for it. You know, he was incredibly negative as well, but it was classic. And I love that you talked about that and just his whole bigger story, which I didn't know as well. I mean, Victor knew it and you knew it. I didn't know his full story, but I love that you brought that up again.
You mean his divorce?
Yeah. He talked all about it on like every video, and so I just thought like, well, that's really brave, man. I don't know if
he really appealed to me when he did that in the beginning. I really liked him, and I think I reached out to him, and I said let's meet up or something. He's like, I don't meet people.
Yeah, he just was really raw on camera. That's what I was really respected. And if nobody knows who we're talking about, it was a guy called
Ryan Boundless.
I made a video about him recently called "The J Vlogger Who Hated Japan."
Yeah,
if you want to catch up on who exactly that is. And
I mean, the video you made on him and the video you made on Canada-Jin, which we'll come to, Canada-Jin-san. Oh man, that brought up some suppressed trauma. And I wasn't even involved in any of it.
I had like kind of forgotten the story. Like in my mind,
we all forgot it.
Happened had like changed over time, and I actually had to go back through all those videos and be like, no, this is actually what people got angry about. And this, like, I had forgotten totally like the sock puppet account thing and all this. I was just like, wow, this really happened. This wasn't like a dream. This was like for real. Like that's what's so weird to me is you can go back and look at all this stuff and be like,
oh man. Yeah, and I had people in the background on that, people who I will not name, but people who, hey, Hiko, I've heard that, you do legal stuff. I want to sue this person for making sock puppets. Can I get them? I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know. Like, what? I tried to do common sense in the background, but yeah, but it all boiled down to like someone is pretty cray there in the background.
Yeah. The funny thing
it was unhinged
about that, they talk about
she commented on his video, I don't know if you know that, Hiko, did you see that comment?
I did. It's like you brought her back, you revived her.
No, it's like
Dr. Frankenstein with the lightning machine reinvigorating the monster.
She came back. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah,
back.
And she told you to get off YouTube and get a life and stop wasting your time and go outside and smell the grass or something, which is just
touch grass.
Which is such a funny thing for her to say, since obviously she's been just what's it called? Lurking. Yes, like she's just lurking, waiting for someone to make a video.
Like been waiting there, like with your head around the corner, like, excuse me.
Did someone mention me?
Hey, look. If she's found happiness probably in ISIS or something like that, then good for her. That's her thing. I don't need to know. I don't want to know. But
it was so funny that she left that huge comment about not wasting time on the internet. It's huge comment.
She wasted a lot of time on the internet writing those comments. Yes.
And then she erased it. Yeah.
Then she deleted all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just said, thanks for watching the video. Good luck in all you do. That's all I could say. Kind of like, oh, okay, well, nothing's ever going to change. So,
by the way, coming back a moment, talk about old school people. The name Dai-chan, throwing that up just now. So, Dai-chan, I think it's long and removed enough that I think we can say a little bit. Like, he just basically decided for work and whatnot that, no, he just can't be on YouTube anymore, and asked everybody, hey, he removed himself entirely from it, and that's entirely fine, especially in Japan.
Yeah.
It was a thing. It was a game for the Nichanas to try to, identify people and dox them and stuff like that. And it was kind of like we were the only ones putting ourselves on the internet like that with our faces in those days. Japanese wouldn't do that. So it was. I respected that. But just before he went off, he actually he wanted to make a video called the rise and fall of Daichen, where he wanted to do it like a documentary style, where people would talk about him like having this huge rise to becoming the biggest star on YouTube, and then having this sort of tragic fall, like one of those sort of expose documentaries. I'm
pretty sure he made it. He did make it.
I recorded a 40-minute interview with myself, just by myself, just telling the story about. And so then, about how Tikyo Sam, how he was like this role model and this great guy until he met Tikyo Sam. and then after he met Tikyo Sam, he just sort of went off the edge and turned into this sort of, hookers and blow, derailed person. And I said it to him. To me, it was one of the best things I'd ever made. And it's never been posted on YouTube. And it's amazing. And I sent it to him. And he said to me, it's amazing. And I'm like, okay, then post it.
Are you sure he never posted that?
I think I might have shared it with you. I've got the video buried on my computer somewhere.
Well, maybe he showed me the video. I remember seeing the video. I remember seeing the maybe it was
good. I was proud of it. It was good work. I was sitting there straight-faced, just totally. I was just making it up as I go along about this guy, Daichen. It was good. It was fun. But that's what I like about those days, right? We did that stuff. Nobody does that stuff anymore. The idea of cooperating. Or, being creative together.
There was Betamax. Remember Betamax?
Love Betamax DC.
Best.
Have you made a video about him yet?
No, I'm going to eventually.
You should. Oh, I was going to recommend. Yeah, I was going to put on the list. Do one about him. Another one. Did you ever know 11 Colors? Maybe you didn't know him. So
I remember 11
Colors. Oh yeah. I called him when I was in Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he left
Japan, right?
I sent him I called him, he didn't answer. I sent him a text message. I said, hey, I'm hanging out with Radray, and we were just talking about you and wondering how you're doing. Hope you're doing well. And he wrote back, yeah, everything's cool. I'm doing really well. And he sent me a short message. Well, when I saw you in Tokyo.
All right. Oh,
yeah. In fact, after I saw you, after we had coffee.
Yeah.
I was with Radray on the train station, and we contacted 11 Colors, and he lined me back.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, 11 Colors was this guy who looks a bit like me, who used to do a lot of. He was a drummer himself, and he covered indies music. Yeah. That was like his thing. He'd cover like indies bands, like and rock bands in Tokyo, and it was really good. And that was and he was always obsessing about how to edit videos, and always going around asking people about like what software they're using and how to render higher quality. Because that was the other part of the game back then, right? It was figuring out how to get a video that doesn't look grainy, which was like the secret to.
There were a lot of problems
YouTube in those days.
Yeah, and how to get the thumbnail to appear in your video at the exact spot.
Yeah. I mean, just getting the autoplay on the channel when YouTube. I mean, they weren't paying us; they were just giving channels banners and autoplay, and we were losing our minds trying to get the privilege of autoplay.
Hey, someone just donated 50,000. I think they're Vietnamese.
Holy crap!
Dongs.
Believe in yourself. Dongs.
Someone gave you 50,000 dongs.
That is believe in yourself. That is one of the three old dudes.
Really?
Yourself from Canada. Making an offering in the name of humor, just laying it on the table, laying his 50,000 dongs on the table. So thank you, believe in yourself, for sharing your dongs with us.
Dongs, yes. So let's try to let's try to let's try to focus this. I got some questions for Unrested.
Please.
Sure.
I really like the comics they used to make. The video things. They took a lot of work though, right? They took forever to make the
way too much. Like now, these days I'd never have time to do something like that. That'd be insane. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you could spice up some of your videos by just putting in one image of whoever you're talking about. I don't know, put a thumbnail or something. But
you can do it way faster now because of how tablets work. But I can't imagine because you have to think of a story. You have to get like dubbing. You have to have like voice acting. You have to put music over it. It's a lot of layers that just I don't. If I made money off of them, I would do it. But it just.
Well, what's who is your favorite old time not here anymore JVlogger? you have a favorite?
I'd say the guy who's not
Well,
here anymore.
It doesn't have to be Betamax. Yeah,
Definitely Betamax. He was like, because he was just like like natural comedian. Like his comedy was on another.
He's so
level.
charismatic.
Yeah.
He's just like he just had a aura. He could be doing noughts and crosses or something on a video, and it would be compelling. Yeah.
He would literally just print out pictures of our faces, wear them over his face,
right,
and to be us. And it was like the funniest video I had ever seen. Like I just thought it was like genius. I was like, no, like it was before people had the editing skills to be able to use like After Effects to actually put like a face over a face. So he would just print it out and put it over his own face.
Right, that's true.
It was insanely hilarious. Like everything he did, like there was never a miss when it came to him trying to make a comedic video.
Oh, I got something for you. I found one. Hold on. Let me present video file.
Sure.
Video file. Okay, hold on. Let me see how do I do this. Go to my desktop. You will be shocked that this exists. I have no idea what this says. Here we go. Ready?
Yep. Share away.
It says your browser's having trouble sharing your content. Oh, damn. You know what, Hiko? I'll send it to you online.
Send me the link. Yeah.
No, it's a video on my computer that I happen to have.
Okay.
Betamax?
Okay, I'll send it to you. Betamax, yeah. So once in a while, I would rip some videos that I wanted to watch later, and some of them are still on my computers. I only have one of Betamax, though, unfortunately.
Sorry, your audio's like really peaking again. You need to turn the.
It's like.
Yeah, tell me right away. Okay. Audio.
If you're like an indies rock band, it would be a cool mic effect.
Okay, there we go. Is that okay now? Is that good? Good. Okay. Hiko, I sent it to you. Do you see it? It's online.
Can you not see me, Hiko? Wrong one. Wait. Checking my line. I don't see anything from you yet.
I did see the file send. I did see that.
I sent it's maybe I sent it to Scott. I'm sorry. I sent it to Scott.
Oh, okay. I was like, why did I see the file transfer? That's so weird.
Okay, let's try again. Okay. Anyway, yeah, he was a favorite. He was a fun one. That's a shame he quit. I was really disappointed when he.
I think honestly, if he had like quality, like today's quality video, and did commentary in the comedic way that he did, he would blow up huge. Like he would be like massive. Like he had like the charisma and the comedic chops for it that he could actually be like really huge. So it's a shame. I know he had like family stuff and everything he had to take care of, which I totally understand. But
nobody keeps in touch with him, right?
He went to California after that, and I don't have any.
I don't even know where he went. I assumed he just was in Russia or Vietnam. I have no idea.
No, he had somebody who was like somebody to take care of who was sick in California or something like that. Like the last thing I heard, and whatever he's doing, I hope he's successful. I'm sure he is. He was a super dude.
What kind of job was he doing? He wasn't teaching, was he? Anyone know?
I think he did like a Kiowa.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That'd be a scary ass teacher if he wore his sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, that was pretty much all anybody did at the beginning here. Was everybody was just teachers.
Well, in our world, I mean, there's a bunch of people in where they were like
nothing.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, this is the train? I'm walking by like, okay, here's a toy train going by. Okay, that's interesting, but where's the real train? Where can I get on an actual train? They're like, no, this is it. This is the Ikegami line. What? This looks like something from the Old West. I was waiting for some cowboys to get on there and like rob it or something. Like, this is not a real train. So it's for the cast of Lord of the Rings. They're okay to go in the Ikegami line. I better be careful making fun of the Lord of the Rings. I made a reference. You can make.
I'll pause for a minute. I see this video goes on for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, the music, he made all the music. The video style was cool. The talking style was cool. Everything he said was funny. And every time I'd watch it, I'd think like, screw you. How can we compete with this?
Well, he had the right timing and everything to be like really comedic. Like if he was still doing commentary today, he'd be huge. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like he'd have some really funny takes, man.
Effortlessly cool. Yeah.
No, and that is the only video I have of him. That's a shame.
Oh, well.
Man.
Yeah. No, they were great videos.
I don't know why I even have that one, but yeah. Oh, you know what? I must have done a shout out for him, and I wanted to put him in to say, go check
Oh
out.
yeah, another thing we used to do. We do the grabbing each other's videos and editing and
put him in. Yeah.
recommending and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
we out each other out. Now,
so Scott, you were in the pantheon of J vloggers, and you were one of the channels everybody knew, and went to all the hanamis, and you'd look after the Osaka hanamis and stuff like that.
That's right.
And as has happened to all of us to some degree, life happens to all of us, and YouTube has definitely changed, and you dropped off the radar a little bit, at least from where I was looking. So fill us in. What you been doing? Like, well,
let's see. Well, that's weird. Why did I flip sideways? I didn't turn anything on my phone or anything. I don't know how that happened.
Okay. Smoking a little bit.
That's weird. I don't understand why it's doing that. Okay, so there was a 2-year break I actually had. I started up my own business here in Japan for a while as an English company. I still have a friend running it too right now, but when I first started it up, I really didn't know how hard it was to start a company in Japan, and it stressed me out to a point where like I couldn't even focus on like anything other than just running that business. It was like I was just like, I had to have like tunnel vision to stay focused on that for the first 5 years. And then finally, after it got out of the red and everything, I could kind of calm down and come back to making a video. And then finally, we reached a point where my youngest son was reaching the testing point where you need to start taking the test to decide if you go to Japanese school. Yeah. And he was like, I don't want to take the test. So my wife was like, how do you feel about trying out American school for him? And I thought, you know what, pays really down low in Japan right now for teachers. It's like really crap pay right now. I still have a teaching certificate in America. Let's go for it. So I moved back. First 2 weeks I came back to America, I got offered a job because there's a huge teacher shortage in America, as you probably know. Then got my son enrolled into the same school that I'm teaching at, and was luckily, what a struggle to like just get minor things like buy a car and especially buy a house is hell on earth. I don't recommend it to anybody. But I got back there, and once I finally, pretty much after I finally settled down, then is when I got back into regular making videos and stuff like that. I want to try and see if I can I flip myself?
I just want to say I feel really sorry for Scott that he had to buy a house. Dude, that's great you bought a house. Congratulations.
I think he just disconnected. I think he was trying to fix his phone. But by the way, I was going to say, when he was talking about old timers, Scott's back.
Sorry. Okay, there we go.
That's kind of a humble bag.
A little turn thing on it, and then it just kicked me out first. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess.
Oh, man, I had to buy a house, and then I bought a Ferrari. Oh, man, life is tough.
Oh, no, dude, I bought a 2003 Toyota Corolla for $12,000. It still has a tape player in it. That's
cool.
And I have a CD player in there too. So I have burned CDs that I play in there.
Cool.
It's got no GPS whatsoever. I bought myself like a super old house. It's like, 1975. The only thing new on it was the roof.
How about the cow? You said you had cows in your backyard?
Yeah, I live out in the countryside, dude. I live totally in the country. I knew when I came back to America, I was not going to live in the city again, man. I've had enough of the city with Japan. So I bought like a countryside home. I've got like ducks living in my backyard and cows in my backyard, a giant lake and everything.
Jeez.
It's cheap. By the way, it's cheaper out in the countryside too. I probably couldn't afford anything in the city anyway.
And don't answer if you don't want to answer, but so has your wife moved to America as well, or is she still working here, or like how did she adapt?
It's a complicated situation. So my son,
you're moving back. Yeah,
my son, my eldest son, he got into like a super good school. Like he did the test. And the school he got into, like it's like 0.0001% people pass to get into it.
Oh, congratulations! That's great.
Like if I told you, I'll tell you sometime off camera. Kiko, and if your wife heard it, she would be like, "Oh my God, how did you get?" Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah.
It's that kind of school. So he got into one of those, and so I wasn't going to be like, "Oh, let me take away that dream you worked 9 years on to like accomplish." So I said, let him keep going there. my wife also, she can't like change over what she does into America. She's in the medical field, and you can't switch your license to an American license, even though it's, single hair.
But transgender, surgery is really going up in America.
In Florida, it's really popular. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's because of Ron DeSantis, if I'm correct. That's he's really big into that stuff. So I couldn't, but I guess I could get her a green card and stuff like that and bring her over. But I think we're looking to most likely retire in America. I'm just pretty much working on the nest egg that is my house right now to make it possible for us to retire.
Wow.
But we'll probably we're almost finished with this house here in Japan. So we'll probably keep this too, so that we can travel back and forth and not have to like rent a hotel. You know what I mean? Like,
how are her parents? Because one of the reasons we didn't move is because my wife's parents are still alive.
Her father's already gone, and her mom's like really up there in years. Like, I mean, and she's kind of just holding on, like. So she doesn't probably have. I hate to say it that way, but she doesn't have too much more left. I mean, I think she's not going to move definitely until her mom's gone for sure. But yeah, that's her situation. I don't know if her mom would really be that upset if she actually moved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she lived in America for a little bit anyway before, so I don't think she'd be overly upset.
Yeah,
she's got 6. She's like one of 6. So like the mom's got like a lot of people to take care of.
A lot of spares.
Yeah.
By the way, another person doing well. I guess you're still doing both, which is amazing as well. And I'm impressed that you're doing that, especially with the kids and everything as well. Softy Papa's actually kind of sharing quite a lot about how what was it? It must have been like 10 years ago now. He upped and moved from Japan. His family, his daughter, who had never lived in America, and they all moved to California, and now they're all actually moving back to Japan now. They're packing up everything in America, and he's going to retire in Japan, which is kind of cool and scary and inspiring watching what he's doing as well. He's obviously a bit further on. He's at retirement age.
Yeah.
So he's at a say, so I'm thinking, oh geez, this could be me in whatever many years, and I have to start thinking about like, am I going to do something like that? But it sounds like you'll be pretty well prepared for any option you want to do when you're ready to pick one place, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've also picked out the place too, just because if anything ever happens in Japan, like you want to have an escape plan, like.
Yeah, the Nankai earthquake, all of that. There's a bunch of.
How many years overdue for the world's biggest earthquake? Like, it's supposed to just like swallow Osaka, so we'll see how.
Yeah, the Nankai Trough quake. It's more than 10 years overdue. It's that every year everyone says, now remember, this year it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And maybe if like North Korea wants to go a little more wacky, or Taiwan and China get into it or something, maybe I'd move them over here ASAP. But I probably. The rest of my family's not coming over until my son finishes high school. My eldest son finishes high school. My other son is going to continue in America. He had his first year of American school, and he did okay. He did all right.
Yeah, well, that's good. It is interesting how they don't. Kids are like that, how. And I hear that this with so many examples, how kids, you just assume they'll be, how they go totally different directions like that. But it's great that you're both doing, what you need to do to make that work.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a choice between the tests that they take in Japan and going to another country, I'd probably go to another country too.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to take anything. Can't imagine.
Yeah.
After I saw what my oldest son went through, it was insane.
Really?
Yeah. Wait until you get to wait until you start sending your kid to Juku, man, and holy cow, dude. Oh my God.
So I teach a lot of high school students, and I often ask them, so how much homework do you do? And they're like, I never do homework.
Yeah, but you're public school kids, right?
No, it's kids who come to my school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I asked them, how do you do homework? And they go, no, we never do. We don't like. No. And then I started asking other adults, and like half of them would say, oh, I did a lot of homework, and some were like, no, I never did homework. And I've never met people who just never did homework except in Japan. So there's like schools, like a lot of schools where nobody does any homework at all.
high school, they're not going to have nearly as much. It's usually like right before they're about to get to middle schools when my kid had like the overdose of like homework. And then you get to middle school, and if your middle school is connected to your high school, you don't have to take another test. You continue all the way through. So there's no extra testing. But when they reach the final year of high school, then it goes back to the insanity again because they're trying to enter college testing. So that's supposed to be when he has to go back to the dregs of study.
I mean, if you or your parents want to push you to get into a good school or have those sort of goals, then it's hell. And I couldn't imagine. You know, there are a lot of people who manage to sort of get through without doing too much, but even then, the pressure to do all of this, the crazy study and homework and stuff like that is there, and some people just drop out because of that. The pressure is so much that people just give up entirely, which is what bothers me about the system here. It's kind of like there was like a lot of people get discarded by the system here. They get through it, but they don't really come out of it motivated to have a big great life or something.
Yeah, there was like stories of like kids who were like running away and like dropping out. Like there was kids who like ran away from home during the time that they were supposed to take these tests because they were so scared and stuff like that. Like they disappeared for 16 days and the police would find them hiding out in an internet cafe because they were trying to skip doing these end of the year tests.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, my son, he loved it. He loved the competition. Like for him, he loved it. The youngest one was just like, no, I don't want any part of it. But my older son, he ate it
and
up.
On that, well, but it's great you managed to accommodate both, and that you and your wife figured out how to do that. Where and going back to America is a big step, and cows, wow. Respect for all of that. So, I mean that's what happens to all of us, right? So the family stuff sort of takes over, and you have to figure out what's important. And YouTubing is important at some point, but I also respect that. You sort of had your priorities straight by the sounds of it. Although I also appreciate now you're taking the time to go back over it. Yeah, Victor, you're going to say something?
So I got two questions. Do any of your kids want to A, become YouTubers, and B, do they want to follow in your footsteps as an artist? And what's your big culture shock in America, going back to America now? And I imagine you had reverse culture shock.
I'd say probably the biggest culture shock for me was the fact that schools don't prepare way ahead of time. In Japan, like you'll know 3 months in advance anything that's coming up for the school. And when I started working for American schools, it'd be like, oh yeah, this week we've got this giant event on Friday. And I'd be like, what? Why didn't anybody tell me like a while back? Like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just make all these decorations for it. And I'd just be like, oh my God. All right. Okay. So that really shocked me. Like they'd be like, why? How long would you prepare for sports day in Japan? I'd be like 3 months ahead of time, man. Then I'd say my one son has asked about being a teacher. He's kind of asked about art, but I always tell my kids, don't major in art, major in business, and then if you still want to major in art after that. But I think they kind of understand that it's not the best degree. And no offense to anybody else there, I'm an art degree. That's me saying that as someone with an art degree. And then
we have to ask you about AI. We have to ask you about AI in a minute. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay. And then my other son, he's kind of messed around a little bit with like TikTok a little bit and making YouTube shorts and stuff like that. But I think they do actually, unlike a lot of kids, they do understand how little money YouTube actually makes, considering like the very few people who make enough to survive off of it. I think they know that just from watching me, where they're like, well, my dad's not carrying money bags all the time. What's going on? But I can tell you in American schools, almost every kid wants to be a YouTuber when they grow up. Like almost all.
Same in Japan. The polls say the same in Japan.
Yeah, the polls say the same. Yeah.
Elementary through middle school, the kids I teach, like I'll be like, what's your job? What job do you want? And they'll be like, I'm definitely gonna be a YouTuber. It's so easy. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's both those things, right? It looks easy and it's not, and they think it's a great career and it's not. But Victor, like
millions.
Yeah, Victor, did you ever want to be a doctor like your dad? Did you ever have that?
No, he's a mortician, but yeah.
Oh, did you ever want to be a mortician?
No, but I did get to see him work on a lot of dead bodies, so that was cool. But the smell was pretty bad, the formaldehyde smell.
Yeah. I can remember, when you're a little kid and your parents ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember my mum asking me that when I was 5. And until I was about 13, my dad was in the army. And, I grew up in army camps moving around everywhere.
Right.
Geez, I mean, I didn't know if I wanted to be a clown, a fireman, or, whatever. I didn't, I'm 5 years old. What do you expect? So one day I told my mum when she asked me what I want to be when I grow up, I said, I want to be a soldier like my dad. And my mum lost her mind. She was probably the most angry I've ever seen her get angry at me.
Really?
So she was like, don't join the army. We're raising you so you don't have to join the army.
Don't join the army, or don't be like your father.
No, it was don't join the army. But she had this idea that she was trying to educate me, to elevate me, so I wouldn't have to. My mum and my dad both came from pretty simple sort of backgrounds, and they wanted to make sure I didn't have to join the army. Which I don't know. My dad had to join. I don't know. I thought it was fine. I mean, I thought it was cool, but I didn't care. I just said, sure, why not be a soldier? My mum. So
I will say my dad was disappointed. Like, he goes, none of you followed me into the medical profession. I'm like, Dad, you're not a doctor.
Well, it's kind of a doctor who arrives too late at the scene every time.
Yeah, he's Dr. Death. Yeah.
Yeah, so your kids. And what about outside of school, outside of the workplace? Anything else shocking about America for you? Reverse culture shock there?
American roads are like incredibly dirty compared to Japanese roads. Like, I didn't really ever think about it until I got back to America and realized that like tires and scraps of broken cars are like all over the sides of the roads of America. Whereas in Japan, you would never see stuff like that scattered over the sides of the road. That really shocked me, like how messy our roads are, or how like during summertime, like people's coolers just fly off the back and they just leave them in the middle of the road and almost going home. It's really scary. I guess, yeah. And then, yeah, that's it. Like, that's probably the biggest. I mean, and just like Americans are much louder, much more outspoken and stuff like that. I guess the absolute worst is just everybody's political now, which is good. I hate it. It's like everybody's on team now.
Democrats or Republicans. Yeah.
When I left, America was not on teams. There wasn't like teams. We didn't, play shirts and skins with our politics back then. So that's what it's kind of a gross atmosphere to go back to. That's my biggest complaint, maybe.
It's also a good thing just to get the perspective of going out of America for a time and realizing it doesn't matter that much. When you're in the middle of it, you can see how everybody gets swept up in it. But coming back with that perspective where you're a bit removed from it, it's probably a really healthy thing. Like, maybe everyone should do that.
Yeah. I always say people, the one thing that they should learn to do is see their own country from outside of their own country.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something everybody should get exposed to at some point in their life, to see how silly some of the stuff we think is super important. Like, that means nothing to you guys. Oh, okay, wow. We were always so concerned or so embarrassed or so worried, or no one cares.
I was just listening to a Freakonomics special about democracy in the USA, and apparently America is the only country who has this duopoly of Democrats and Republicans. No other country has this problem. Every other country has 3 or 4 parties at least. Germany, New Zealand. What about New Zealand?
So UK and New Zealand used to have a system. UK still has first past the post, where one person wins every seat, which means that basically it's a winner takes all for every electorate, and so it's not.
But you have more than one party. You have 3 or 4 parties in England.
Well, so it resulted in that not only was it only 2 parties for a long time, but the results sometimes wouldn't reflect the votes. Like if you won over the cities or whatever, more people would vote for one party, but the other party would win because they'd get all the rural seats. And so when the party that lost that got into power after, they changed the electoral system to make it proportional. So it's like Japan now, where the votes reflect the percentage of votes the parties get. So then all the small parties, which if a close third doesn't get you a seat. In fact, you have to win a complete seat, to get any representative. So everyone's moving towards that. But UK is still winner takes all, like America. So although UK does have multiple parties, it is basically 2 parties. There's a bunch of independents and fringe. They have a third party there, I think, but it's not. Yeah, America is not the only party like that. But all the countries that had systems that did that, including New Zealand, we realized it was messed up. And for us, it was back in the 90s. We changed the entire electoral system so that it wouldn't be like that, because we realized it was messed up. What I find funny is how Americans think it's just impossible to change anything. When everybody had that problem, everybody changed.
Except
So
for
yeah.
her.
It'll never change. It'll be like
I don't think it's ever going to change.
Yeah. It feels like a uniparty to me. It doesn't even feel like two parties. It just feels
Yeah,
like
it's one party, and they're both
one party.
targeting different voters, and
Yeah.
they just hope to get into office and keep it, and they don't want a third party. Yeah, it would be against their best interest. But, okay, cool. Hey, so let's get back into this. We got Unrested here, so
Yeah.
maybe
Comment on screen. Question on screen.
yeah.
Who's on your list for future videos? You're doing the series, and it's great, and people should all go and watch.
Aaron mentioned Japanarchist.
Japanicus. Sunny. He was great.
Yeah.
Well, there's Apple Milk 1988.
Oh,
has
right.
Yeah.
short. So I really want to cover that one. My Argonauts is another one I'm going to cover eventually. That's an old school one. I don't know.
Well, he's still here.
He's kind of around, but yeah.
He's still around. But I mean, I'll still talk about, like, I've even talked about Tokyo Sam. I mean, he's still around too.
Of course, yeah. He's Tokyo
around.
Kuni. You got to do Tokyo Kuni.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to cover Tokyo Kuni. He's got a really great story. His story's like super interesting. So I'm definitely covering him. I've got like a list actually written down. It's on my phone, but if I start looking at it right now, I'll probably close this out. So I don't want to do that right now. But I do have a list of other ones too, like even much smaller ones. There's going to be a couple where I have to combine a few because they were so small that their time was really brief. Yeah.
I mean, you know what though? You should just make up a random, or just pick a random small channel with almost nothing on it and just make up a dramatic story for it. The story nobody knows about this channel.
What's his name? Oz? Like Ozzy?
Yeah.
I'll make up like a really dark scenario for Ozzy, even though like
his dog just died last month, man.
Oh no!
After 16 years.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Him and Sonny used to be good friends. Maybe they still are. I don't know. Japanarchist, yeah. Hey, but I got a question for Hiko because this is related to Unrested. There was one guy, Hiko, who was a J-vlogger who put up all this anti-gay stuff like way back in the. I think he was an Aussie.
Yeah, no. When you said Aussie just now, I'm trying to remember his now. It was like just Nozoki da. No, okay. It was like just peeking. All right, yes. Nozoki mi da yo.
Nozoki.
God, why do I remember that? Yeah, no, he was.
And
terrible.
I know you hated him. Oh, you did not like him very much. I remember that.
No, I wouldn't openly say who I liked and didn't like, but since it's now 15 years, I hated that dick.
Maybe just for me, but the whole J-blogging community turned on this guy, except me because I was like, I don't even know who this guy is. But I learned about him later, and they hated him. And he was super anti. He put up all these he made a video like saying how homosexuality.
He had these very fundamentalist Christian views, and he would just sit down and rationalize his religiously founded bigotry, and he'd just talk about it. And I'm like, okay, well, you're a dick.
Wow, really? Holy cow! I never knew there was anybody in the community who was like that. I mean, we're
there was one guy.
I find for the most part we're pretty open-minded like group out here. Like,
well, and you know what? This guy got some negative comments, and he got really offended by it and reacted. I mean, it was a flash in the pan. He only made like less than 10 videos, I think. But yeah, I remember him reacting badly and then piecing out. Which, again, back in the day, that was how it worked. It was a social network, and if you were social, you were kind of dead, and that's kind of what happened. Aussie 78, of course. He's just moved back to Toronto. He has a great story, actually.
Oh, did he move back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
He moved back like a few years ago now.
Oh,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a chance
I
always
that.
Deserved like a lot more views. Like I always felt like, man, why doesn't this guy get way more views? Like his stuff was always like decent quality and everything.
He was putting in the work, yeah.
Yeah, he was always putting in the work. You know, I just always felt like, man, this guy deserves way more coverage and stuff.
There was a little drama with him too, because he created the remember the Christmas thing where you open up those little boxes at Christmas. What's that called? The calendar, not something calendar for Christmas.
Oh, the Advent calendar or whatever.
I never did that in my family, but the Advent calendar. He started that. He did that for a few years, and then some other group of Japanese J-bloggers took it, started doing their own. Yeah. And they didn't even include him, and he was really pissed off about that.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Like, that sucks. He started the idea, and they just pretty much nabbed it from him. I mean, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, Lauren Nihon. I know the name Lauren Nihon. Why do I know Lauren? Do anyone know
she
Lauren
was nice. I remember Lauren Nihon.
I remember.
There's so many people say, I'll be like, oh, yeah, holy cow, I don't even remember. Wow.
Oh yeah, she's nice. I met her. Yeah.
There was a bunch of college kids too. So like every once in a while,
All the
someone will be like,
temple.
what happened to this kid? And I'll be like, oh, they finished college. Like they're just back.
Graduated. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Radri and I think even wasn't even Betamax, weren't they all at Temple? That's how they all sort of, and they all agreed to go on to. They're all Temple University students, and some of them just stopped after college, and some kept going.
Who's the guy I had a big beef with because he said Japanese commit suicide because kanji is too difficult? Remember, and I said that's so stupid. It was like a Danish guy or something. He was friends with all of them.
Zen. Oh God, he was friends with BLK.
Yeah. They're probably still friends.
The Danish guy, yeah.
Because
Did he say that? By the way, bum number one. You remember bum number one?
Oh, I talked to him.
Fuck. You just
stupid motherfuckers! I'm going to teach you hiragana right now while drinking beer.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, that guy was awesome. That guy was kind
I
of.
love that guy.
Really frank.
He moved back to the States too, like 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
About the same time I got married. I remember I called him from my old apartment. I remember the conversation, and he wouldn't take the phone call at all at first. Like, who is this? How'd you get my number? I don't remember how I got the number, but someone hooked me up, and I finally convinced him that it was actually me, Victor. Give me a break, man. And then we had a nice conversation, and he was I mean, he's going back to California and all that, but. I think I wanted to interview him or something, but it didn't work out. But he was funny as hell. Oh my god,
his stuff was great. Yeah,
for those of you who don't know, he would drink beer and teach hiragana and insult the audience. He would teach basic hiragana and expressions and drinking and teaching and writing on the whiteboard.
There was another one too. That probably people remember. Tatatron was a guy who collected stuff.
Tatatron.
And then there was another guy, I can't remember. There was this one guy who would let his Japanese, I don't know if it was like his wife or his girlfriend, he would let her explain the plot of Star Wars, and it was like the funniest video.
That was Sunny.
Japanicist.
It was his, I think, wife's sister or something.
God,
he was gifted. He was so funny.
She let her explain Star Wars.
Those were so funny.
Video I'd ever seen. Oh my god.
A couple of those went viral. They did really well.
Yeah,
but
they were
yeah, I think you know better than me, but yeah, I got the impression he put so much work into making his videos perfect. I got the sense he burned himself out because he put so much work.
Yeah, because he would put pictures for like every single thing she was saying and everything. I thought like this must take so much editing.
He would draw too. Well, they were pencil drawings, but still, yeah. No, he's a really nice guy. When Maggie died, he came to my school just to see how I was doing. Which I mean, it's just a dog, but still, I was impressed. I was like, "Whoa,
super nice."
Yeah,
really nice guy. Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. YouTube back then, that's the sort of stuff that was happening from people who just knew each other through this originally, right? And people would make these like connections and lifelong friendships. I don't see how that could happen now. If you were starting YouTube now, if you're like a 21-year-old starting YouTube now, like you come to Japan, you're making videos about Japan. Community is just like irrelevant now.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad. I mean, it's definitely progressed. YouTube is definitely better now. There's tons of much higher quality content, so it's a different thing. It's like cable news is like a cable TV channel thing now. But it used to be actually really nice to be a creator, sharing the experience of learning how to create with people. Yeah,
it was more social network. Now you're right. It's almost like comparable to Netflix at this point with some of the documentaries and stuff people make. So. And then we're still left here doing these kind of videos where our quality is just like a guy turns on a camera and talks. So we're still back in that age. And that's what no one comes back to the community. There's no going back in time. So I tell that person who's hoping we get back to communities again, but I think that time is past.
Yeah. I think
never say never. Never say never. Never say never.
Maybe AI will enable it. By the way, one name, BLKUNK. I ran into him at Hanami the other day. He's great. He's still around. He has an amazing story. He's a really interesting guy. I don't know how well you guys know him, but
I remember that name. That's
Oh yeah. Remember his dream to meet Bito Takeshi, and he did it. It was
Oh, really?
amazing. Yeah, he
Yeah.
actually got a video of him and Peter Takeshi together. It was like I couldn't believe it. It's like it's never going to happen for you, buddy. I thought, but no, he did it. So I'm so glad he proved me wrong.
Yeah.
Good for him.
You know what? And total, we said we'd get to this, and we're running out of time a little bit. So we've done a few videos lately on this thing. So everyone's talking about AI, and we've got actually an AI like expert, and then an artist who's kind of like not full on anti-AI, but very skeptical and is like following a lot of the negatives about it and the backlash. I'm kind of, as someone who's an artist yourself and so on, but also into tech as well, obviously. Like, how are you taking all of this? It's kind of everyone's trying to figure it out at the moment.
I
What do you think about Midjourney and
AI,
stuff?
I mean, AI will eventually take over probably a lot of art stuff that we do. I still think, though, that until we reach, what is it called, like AGI, where it can actually make up its own ideas to begin with, until it can actually do that and not just work from prompts, we're still going to need the people who put in prompts. But I think also, I mean, it's still nowhere close to a point where you look at AI art and think like, oh, definitely like real human empathy went into this. Like, this is real emotion. Like, it's still got this very cold sort of like, you know, soulless look to it. So I'm not really too worried about it. I'd say in my field where I teach art, I can't see how it would take over that. Like, I don't see how AI could take over teaching art, like teaching anything really. Like AI just couldn't, I don't see how it could take over that.
Okay, but like as a teacher of art, you know, part of teaching art nowadays, I mean, I'm sure you start with the fundamentals and the old fashioned, you know, painting and sketching and stuff like that. But surely, like, if you're going all the way with that, learning how to use CAD, you know, how to use computer software and how to use computer aided design, that's part of that's a normal part of art nowadays. And surely, in the same way, learning how to use AI as a tool in your tool belt for art, you know, is that something that
I would. If personally, my philosophy as an art teacher is I would hold off teaching kids about AI for until they reached like graphic design in middle school or high school. I feel like that could easily corrupt like their own initiative to create their own like imaginary and fantasy creations and stuff like that. I feel like that would corrupt it. Like, I feel like the human touch on AI is okay. I like to see sometimes stuff that comes out of that, but the reverse is kind of disgusting to me. I can't, because I mean, that's like reheated beans, wouldn't you say? Like, I mean, that's kind of like recycled stuff, because your AI is just pulling from other artists' prompts. So you're just like pulling from other people's prompts and then trying to feed them through another human resource, which is kind of like, what's the point of that? Like, why not go to the actual source? You know, why not go to an Andy Warhol and look that up rather than a twisted version of an AI's Andy Warhol, right? Like, I would want to teach them from the origins first.
And then like teaching, getting the fundamentals. Yeah.
It'd be kind of corrupted. Like, you know, it's, you would teach a kid how to like do character design before you teach them how to make a character in Maya 3D art program for a video game, right? Like, you teach them how to actually sketch out character design first before you'd get to the computer aspect of making the 3D design. So I feel like the same way about AI too. Like, you can use it, it's okay, and it can even be used as prompts to even give people ideas or expand their ideas. But I think it should still start with a human origin to begin with. Otherwise, it becomes kind of disgusting.
Yeah. No, that's I mean, totally fair point. A lot of people feel like that, and even stronger, you know. So.
Oh yeah, I can understand.
Yeah. Oh, it's an interesting time, isn't it? You know, I'm excited for.
And it's changing so quickly, man. I just can't keep up. All the posts that you're posting in the AI group. Like, oh my God, we got to put Scott in that too. We have a little AI group where we collect the articles. But,
so Hope we had on 2.5 Oyajis the other week. We're having a little discussion continuing online where she's really diligent about finding just interesting articles from different perspectives on this, and we're sort of chatting about it in the background. And my as a lawyer, I'm dealing with it as well. So for me, it's interesting as well. I have to think of all sides. You know, even if I'm personally in the direction of pro, I have to consider. My job is to say to the other people who are more pro than me, hey, we got to be considerate about this or think about this. You know, so it's good for me to really think it through and think through all the negatives and unforeseen. So it's a really interesting topic. But I know we're getting late, but man, it's just so cool to be hanging out.
Yeah, I
actually.
wish we could meet up, Scott. If there's any, you're not coming through Nagoya, are you? Or Tokyo? Well, you should if you go to Tokyo, definitely too.
Yeah.
I'm sure he goes.
Yeah, I won't be to Tokyo until I leave on an airplane. Unfortunately, that's the next time I'll be in Tokyo.
Yeah. Well, if you're ever in Tokyo and you got some time, it'd be cool to hang out.
I'll be coming back every summer, no matter what. So I'll still be coming back all the time. Pretty much half my life in America, half my life in Japan. That's how it is now.
That's cool that you can. Yeah, it's cool that you've set up your life like that as well. Much respect. And also, I've met your wife before, and I was super impressed by her. And so, say hi.
She's the brains of the operation. Trust me. That's.
Yeah, no, she's very cool. So yeah, look, I think we're gonna wrap it up. But hey, look, it's great to get back. Everybody, seriously,
thanks for coming on, man.
Scott's making great content, bringing up all the stuff that we just touched on. He's going deep into detail, and it's like really cool. Actually, for me, it's like bringing back a lot of like, oh yeah, that stuff happened. And it's even today. We just, I think, started to remember a whole bunch of things. There's a ton of great content just from thinking about.
It was nice reminiscing with you, man.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, if you guys are ever wondering about a channel that's disappeared, or you want to see the history of being a J-vlogger YouTuber in Japan, then come check out my channel. That's pretty much what I'm covering right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh.
270 AJ, where can I get the mic that Give Me a Break Man is using? I think that's sarcastic.
Really you should see I should screenshot this and show you. It's super low now, but.
I think Temu probably have it on order for you. You could probably get a couple of them on Temu for a couple cents.
This is really old, yeah. I got to get a new one.
Cool. Okay, we're going to check out, but great to see you, Scott. I'm going to end the live stream. Hang around for a bit. We'll say goodbye offline. But yeah, so to everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the comments and stuff. And yeah, see you next week. I'll be around tomorrow.
Thumbs up the video, man.
Remember to, as Victor put it, remember to finger the video.
Finger the video.
And, let's see you all again soon. Boom. Peace.
Good night.